There's a level of discipline that frightens people, a consistency that seems alien. Today, you'll discover how to build it. Have you seen that person who never fails? Their eyes hold a different kind of fire. They wake up in the silent dark every day. They move with a purpose that's unnerving. While others give up, they carve a deeper path. While others make excuses, they simply show up, and the world whispers, that isn't normal. An ancient Zen system creates this power. They call it Goji, a practice that feeds itself. Once you understand it, you become unbreakable. But there's a catch. This fire burns. This system isn't for the faint of heart. It demands you kill a part of yourself. The comfortable, weak part you protect. The awakening begins now. This is the story of Kalan, a programmer, brilliant and successful, but his past failures haunted him. Ghosts of promises he couldn't keep. He couldn't stick to any habit. Not for more than a few weeks. The gym membership gathered dust. Meditation apps were opened, then deleted. Books were bought. Their spines never cracked. The pattern was a relentless cycle. Monday, a surge of false motivation. Wednesday, the first whisper of negotiation. Friday, a complete surrender to comfort. Sunday, hollow promises for a new week. Kalan had tried everything. Apps, rewards, partners, all failed. Because he was fighting something unseen, the very architecture of his own mind, until he found the secret of the Zen monks, how they could meditate for centuries, without missing a single day. It's not willpower, it's something far more absolute. Something much more frightening. The secret of the monks is an open door. In Zen temples, there's a simple rule. It's a rule that changes reality. Goji. Continuous practice without gaps. Without gaps, let that sink in. Since 1200 AD, a bell has rung every single day in the pre-dawn cold at 3:30 a.m. at Ai Temple. For over 800 years, the monks rise, not at 3:25, not at 3:35, exactly at 3:30 a.m. Do you know what never happens in that temple? No monk thinks, just 5 more minutes. That thought simply does not exist. It has been burned out of their minds. They understand a fundamental truth. Your brain sorts commitments into 2 boxes, reversible or irreversible. Reversible choices become endless debates. Irreversible realities simply happen. When a monk takes his vows publicly, he's not making a promise. He's forging a new identity. He doesn't promise to try meditating. He declares, I am a meditator. The community is the witness. The identity is the anchor. The negotiation is over. A Harvard neuroscientist confirmed this power. When you make a behavior public, your primitive brain sees failure as a direct threat to your survival. Exile from the tribe meant death. Your brain still carries that fear, and that is the key. Kalan used. He stopped whispering promises to himself. He began making public declarations of war. He wrote on paper a contract with his soul. I am a person who meditates 20 minutes, every day at 5 a.m. for 90 days. He signed it, his hand steady. He posted it online, the screen glowing. A click. The vow was sent into the world. He told everyone. There was no turning back. His girlfriend said, You're being intense. His co-workers smirked. Good luck with that. Perfect! Every doubter became fuel for his fire. Every morning he wanted to quit. He pictured their faces, their knowing smiles. He refused to be another man who couldn't deliver. Day 3. The first true test arrived. The alarm sliced through the 5 a.m. Silence. His mind instantly began its rebellion. You're exhausted. This is madness. One day off won't kill you. But a fundamental shift had occurred. The thought of posting his failure online. The public shame after only 3 days. It was a pain worse than the fatigue. The declaration made quitting more painful than continuing. But this was only the first battle. The war was yet to come. The real internal war was just beginning. Despite the social pressure, it was a lonely fight. Kalen was still at war with his own biology. His body didn't care about his reputation. It craved sleep, warmth, and ease. The public vow ended the negotiation, but it didn't end the internal screaming. That's when he embraced the second principle, the monk's ruthless use of non-negotiable hours. Every day, you burn precious mental energy on the same pointless questions. Should I do it now or later? Morning, when I'm tired, or night, when I'm drained. This endless deciding consumes your focus, the fuel you need for the actual work. You're wasting your life deciding when to drive, instead of just driving. Kalen chose 5 a.m. not because he was a morning person. He chose 5 o'clock a.m. because it was a sanctuary. A silent void where the world couldn't reach him. No messages, no emails, no distractions, no possible excuses. The time wasn't for optimization. It was for the elimination of choice. The first week was a special kind of hell. The cold floor was a shock to his system. His body fought him with a primal rage TC's normal. Your body is a creature of habit. You are forcing it to build a new reality. Of course it resists. In the second week, the resistance cracked. He began waking moments before the alarm. His body was learning, anticipating the call. An ancient rhythm was taking over. On day 14, the alarm was merely a confirmation. His feet were on the floor before his mind was online. No thought, no decision. Only the purity of automatic movement. Here's what most people never understand about a fixed schedule. It's not about finding the perfect time. It's about making time irrelevant. When an action is tied to a different time each day, you force your brain to make a fresh decision. Every single time. When the schedule is a constant, like the sunrise, your brain cannot argue with it. But Kellen's mind was clever. It found a new weakness. His schedule was fixed, but the content of his practice was not. He kept changing what he did in that sacred time. So many mornings, intense meditation. Other days, he just read a book. Sometimes, a frantic burst of push. His brain had discovered a new loophole, a shadow negotiation. Instead of arguing about when, it now argued about what. The 20 minutes at 5 a.m. was solid, but the practice itself was dissolving into chaos. The fixed schedule was only half the equation. His mind was still finding ways to choose comfort. He had eliminated the when, but not the what. This is where the monk's final teaching gets controversial. It requires you to do the exact same thing every single day, without deviation, until your mind finally, completely surrenders. This is the one true way. You believe variety keeps you engaged, but variety is the enemy of consistency. Every time you alter your routine, your brain must make a dozen push-ups or burpees. Which book? Which chapter? 5 minutes of meditation, or 10. Every tiny choice is a crack in the armor. It's where your old self leaks back in. Kalen locked everything down. A total lockdown of the self. 20 push-ups, 10 minutes of meditation, 10 minutes of reading. Same order, same timer, same ritual. His personal 90-day crucible had begun. A period of identical, relentless practice. His friends called him robotic, a machine. His girlfriend said he was losing his spontaneity. They couldn't understand. Becoming robotic was exactly the point. The third week, his mind declared a loud war. It screamed at him every single morning. This is boring. You're not a robot. You need balance. This is obsession. You'll burn yourself out. Just stop. The fourth week, something finally broke. It wasn't his discipline. It was his resistance. The voice of negotiation became a faint whisper. By week 6, the change was profound. He'd be halfway through his push-ups before he even consciously realized he had started. Thought was a luxury he no longer needed. The practice was now running itself. This is the great secret of consistency. It's not about having infinite willpower. It's about using repetition until willpower becomes entirely unnecessary. Your body learns the pattern. The sequence becomes muscle memory, like a dancer who no longer thinks about the steps. An MIT researcher explained it perfectly. Repeat an action in the same context for roughly 66 days. And the brain's basal ganglia takes over. The behavior becomes fully automatic. You are no longer deciding to do it. You are simply doing it. Day 35. The flu hit him like a truck. Day 40. He was on a plane, traveling for work. This is the break point of the great filter. Sick day means rest. Travel day means exception. This is where you have always given up before. This is where everyone else quits. Because the myth of perfect practice requires the myth of perfect conditions. And perfect conditions are a fantasy. The Zen master Dogen understood this. He wrote that practice must be continuous, without even a single moment's gap. Because in that gap, in that tiny pause, all of your old demons rush back in. What saved Kalen when everything fell apart? Knowing that practice doesn't demand perfection, it only demands continuity. This is practice without a gap. The all or nothing mindset is a lie. It has murdered more dreams than laziness ever could. You say, if I can't do the full workout ... then I'll do nothing at all. If I can't do it perfectly ... I'll just wait for tomorrow. This thinking is a trap. It creates the gaps, and the gaps are where your old self thrives. Look at any true master, any elite athlete. They have rest days, yes, but their rest is still a forward movement. It's intentional, strategic, and planned, never an escape born from laziness. Rest is a tool to train harder tomorrow. Skipping because you're tired is not rest. It's retreat. It is surrender. A river in a drought doesn't vanish. It may shrink to a trickle, but it never stops carving its path. The moment it stops completely, it ceases to be a river. It becomes a dry, dead memory of what it once was. Your practice must be the same. The moment you allow a gap, you are no longer practicing. You are just someone who used to practice. The travel day arrived. Day 40, an airport terminal at 4:00 a.m. A full day of draining meetings. A hotel with no gym. Kalen did his push-ups in the airport bathroom. The cold tiles pressed against his hands. He ignored the confused stares from strangers. He meditated in the back of an Uber. He read his 10 minutes on the plane. Nothing about it was perfect, but the momentum was maintained. The vow they made 40 days ago remained unbroken. This is Goji, the practice that continues itself, and that's when people truly started to notice. Coworkers said his presence had changed. Friends accused him of becoming obsessive. Someone actually told him his discipline wasn't healthy, that normal people need to be more flexible. When you start hearing these words, you know you are finally on the right path. Normal people get normal, average results. You are not striving to be normal. You are striving to be unbreakable. But there is one last thing no one prepares you for. The chaos you can never predict. The obstacles you cannot plan for, because you don't even know they exist. This is where you need precept. Your child gets sick. Your car breaks down on the way to the gym. Your boss keeps you at work 4 hours late. These are the true killers of consistency, because you have not pre-decided how to respond. When an unexpected obstacle hits, you are forced to make a decision under stress, and in that moment of chaos, you will always choose the path of least resistance. The obstacle will win every single time, because you are fighting a battle you did not prepare for. Zen monasteries have run for centuries, without missing a single day of practice, through earthquakes, wars, famines, and plagues. The practice continues. They don't make decisions when crisis strikes. The answer has already been decided. If the meditation hall floods, they move to the dining hall. If the dining hall burns down, they sit in the courtyard. There is no meeting, no debate, No negotiation. The bell rings. The response is automatic. Kalon wrote down every past excuse, every obstacle that had ever shattered his resolve, and he created a pre-solution for each one, planned for sudden rain, push-ups in the garage, unexpected house guests, silent workout in the bathroom, a hangover which shouldn't happen, but if it did, 2 push-ups, 1 minute of meditation, 1 page of a book. Each scenario now had a fixed, automatic response. When X happens, I will do Y. No thinking, no negotiating, only execution. The power here is immense. You stop wasting mental energy on chaos. Your brain learns a new, deeper truth. No matter what happens tomorrow, the practice will continue. This certainty rewires your entire nervous system. A Yale psychologist proved this. When you pre-decide your actions, you remove decision fatigue from the critical moment. Your willpower is reserved for execution, not for debate. Day 70. Kellen's practice was completely automatic. He would sometimes wake up, not even remembering having done the push-ups. His body was now a programmed machine. His girlfriend's mother visited for a week. He did his push-ups silently in the bathroom at 5 a.m. The practice continued, unbroken, because the answers were already written. On the 90th day, his crucible was complete. 3 months of uninterrupted practice. But something far deeper had occurred. He was no longer the same man. The old Kalan was a ghost, a memory of a weaker person. Friends told him, flat out, "Your consistency is scary." His response was quiet and perfect. Good. The transformation is the final stage. When your discipline makes others uncomfortable, you are finally operating at the correct frequency. Your very existence is a challenge to them. It proves that everything they call impossible is merely uncomfortable. That is why they will call you obsessive. That is why they will preach balance. They need you to slow down so they can feel better about standing still. But you are not doing this for them. You have discovered the ultimate secret. Consistency is not something you do. It is something you become. It's about becoming a person who can't live any other way. Implement the Goji system. Public declaration, fixed schedule, identical practice. Pre-solved obstacles. You're not just building habits. You are forging a new identity from the fire. You stop being someone who tries, and you become someone who simply is. When that transformation is complete, people will look at you with a mixture of fear and awe, and they will think, how do they do that? And the answer will be simple. They don't. They are. The question remains, are you ready for this path? Because this is not about discipline. It is about a death and a rebirth. The death of your inconsistent, comfortable self. The birth of your unbreakable, true self. The Goji system won't make you a better person. It will make you a different person. Someone the world looks at and thinks, that's not normal. And when you hear those words, you will know you have finally arrived.